It's time for a new adventure.
Welcome back to another Adventures in Business. This is your co-host, Amy Zander with ZD Media, and I'm here with the lovely Lisa Fisher. How you doing, Lisa?
I'm doing great, Amy, but talk about adventures. You've got a mighty fine adventure coming up pretty soon. Tell us what you're doing.
I know, actually, yes. I'm not sure when this episode will air, if it will be while I'm in Ireland or when I come back from Ireland, based on our production schedule. I'm not sure. We're recording this before I leave, right before I leave. But yeah, I am going to be going to Ireland with my oldest daughter. She's graduating in just a couple days, and this is her graduation trip from her dad and I, but it's just her and I going. We're renting a car, going to drive on the other side of the road, going to have a crazy adventure. We've got a few Airbnbs booked, but other than that, we're just going to drive around and decide what we're going to do, when we're going to do it. And she's like 18, so I'm pretty sure she can legally drink over there. So she said she's gonna have a couple beers. She's not really a drinker, but we're gonna get tattoos while we're there. That's a big thing we're gonna do. And yeah, she said she wants to shear a sheep and chase leprechauns and just have fun. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be there for over 2 weeks. So
Amy, how exciting. I am so thrilled for both you and Anna, and I can't wait to hear about how it goes when you get back. And I love the free flow, right? They're not itinerary, agenda driven. So
we land in Dublin, and the first Airbnb that we stay there in is converted from an old chocolate factory. So she was like, ooh, we can pretend to be Oompa Loompas. So that's fun. So yeah, it'll be good. I've never been to Europe before. This is my first time. She is a world traveler. My daughter spent an entire summer in Japan and things like that. So this will be fun for both of us. So yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very
so
good.
What about you? Do you have any big summer plans coming up?
Not at all.
No.
So just kind of doing the long weekend things and enjoying family time and sunshine. So yeah.
You do a lot of Jeep things. You've got your Jeep group and that kind of stuff, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Nice.
We have fun with that.
How many Jeeps do you guys have? Too many.
I am losing
Never
count.
enough.
Classic trucks, all these different ones, and I just jump in them, drive with the top down sometimes, or just passengers, or it's all good.
You look so cute in your little white Jeep that you have. The old one that you drive is so cute with your little blonde hair blowing. You look so cute in it. Oh, nice. Awesome. Nice. So is it really truly a passion for you too, or do you just go along with your husband? Is it more his thing, or do you really like it too?
I go
Remember, we're being recorded.
Mostly for my husband, but I got to tell you, I never thought I was an adrenaline junkie, but some of the things that we do, I am an adrenaline junkie.
Sure.
So yeah.
Well, and it's quality time. It's quality time,
yes,
right? Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah.
So.
Sure. I get that. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So, well, speaking of quality time, who are we going to spend some quality time with today?
I am excited to have time with Jen McClure and take this adventure with her. I had an opportunity to meet her networking, and Jen is an author. She is a speaker, and she is also a beauty consultant. But today we're going to focus on her book that she's written. So, Jen, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I am blessed and fabulous. Thank you so much.
Nice. Yeah, good to see you again, Jen. I have met you once before. I met you at a networking event that Lisa was hosting, and it was awesome because you have this just beautiful, bright smile. Your makeup always looks fabulous. And the first thing you were like, I need to take a selfie with you. That's how I remember people. And we took a selfie, and you texted me the picture, and then you've always remembered me. So that way. So it was great. That's a great practice. Yeah.
I am so honored that you jumped on board with that because not everybody loves that. So
yeah, selfies are normal in this day and age, right?
So thank you for embracing that with me. Oh, my goodness.
Sure. Yeah. So tell us about your book.
All right. So I'm going to hold it up right now because I am, life being what it is today, I am holding the camera by my hand. So so I may have to switch hands. So there we go. No, stop it. That is the book. It is called Wisdom from the Wilderness. And yes, that is me on a beach. That was not posed, not planned. I was just having a moment of divine gratitude and just taking in the grandeur and the beauty that is life. And somebody snapped that picture from the back and texted it to me. And I'm like, I'm not going to cry, but that's so cool.
Right.
Because it was so that topic of the book is my recovery journey from a debilitating season of depression and anxiety. And I mean, 4 years and almost killed me, except that it didn't. And I'm very thankful about that. But to have those moments of joy. And for people that meet me now, they're like, you have got to be kidding, because you're like the most joyful person I've ever met on the planet. And I'm like, I am now.
Right.
And I think part of that, I've always been, prior to that season, I was always positive, but now it is truly deep in my bones joy, because I'm living my chapter 2 life, and it really could have gone differently. So the book is Wisdom from the Wilderness.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to write your story, Jen?
Thank you for asking. And to be really clear about the first 3 chapters, 3 or 4 chapters are my story and how I got in that pit of despair. There's no other word to call it, and how I got out. But the 2/3 of the book is really about tricks and strategies. I don't want to say tricks, like it's not a quick fix, you guys. But strategies about if you're in a spiral, here are some things you can do. Here's how you can stack the deck in your favor to not end up in a season of wilderness like that. So really, it's I'm not a doctor. I'm not qualified, nor would I ever want to diagnose someone, but I have been through some things, and I think I give voice to people struggling with something that sometimes makes you feel voiceless, and
Right.
you feel very alone. And I frequently tell people, if you've never been there, you won't get it. I can't, if you've been there, you won't ever forget it. I can't explain it to you in a way that will really sink into your soul, the reality of what that is.
Right.
So when I came out the other side, I've always been a writer. I love words. I love expressing myself like that. In fact, I say that writing is the one thing in my life that I can't not do. I mean, it flows out of me, like it's almost not me. I don't know. I hope that doesn't sound too weird.
I get it. I understand.
But just my whole passion for the writing project was that mental health challenges have always been difficult, but my heavens, since 2020, when everything that we thought we could count on, the ground was shaking, you guys, right? And people were experiencing stress and fear and anxiety and isolation and insecurity like we never had before in my lifetime. And I'm not young, I've been around for a while. Yeah, and I thought I want to be the face of hope for those folks that are thinking that there is no hope, that this
Right.
dark chapter will be their final chapter, and that'll be it, and their kids won't know them, and their grandkids won't have opportunity to know them because they let this thing take them down. And I want people to know that as dark and as long as that was for me, God saw fit to bring me back out of that. And he is no respecter of persons. He did it for me. He can do it for you. And that's what your loved ones deserve. There is a purpose for you. And I want to give people hope that your chapter 2 can be more beautiful than you ever would have imagined.
Yeah.
I really loved when you sent over a little bit about yourself. you really talked about your life focus is about helping people celebrate beauty in the midst of messy. And obviously, COVID, we were in a big midst of messy, and there's other times in people's lives where they're just really, like you said, feel like they're alone, or you're helping them to have a voice in all of this. If you don't mind sharing, when we think about how do we celebrate that beauty, what would be an example of something, without giving the book away, that you wrote that would help with that?
Oh, celebrating the beauty. I would say, so interesting. One of the statements that I make in the book is be present to your present. And, I know that other folks might teach it and call it mindfulness, but so frequently our bodies are in one place doing this thing, but our brains are on the 5 things that we have coming up, the 2 mistakes that we just made, the 4 people we didn't call that we really should have, and we squander. We squander being in the presence of people for real. Hurry, busy. I have certainly been a victim of my own poor choices with regards to overscheduling, and that is a joy stealer a lot. What a great question. Thank you for asking. I hope that was a clear answer.
Right.
Being present in the present, that is so important, because like you said, with all the technology and the instant gratification, we're in 50 million, our mind space is in 50 million different places. So take a moment and just be present with what's in front of you.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think
I love
COVID shone a really bright light on mental health in a couple ways. One, because people were dealing with a lot during COVID, and it also gave a bigger space for people to talk about it, because more people were dealing with it at the same time. So there was more of a space to talk about it. But also, don't you find that often it's when you slow down, or maybe, so I know some people were out of work or shifted work or had a little bit more time because things kind of slowed down and we were forced to stay home and rethink about things. When it's in those moments, sometimes it's when you realize, wow, I'm stressed, or I'm grieving, or I'm dealing with things, because you're not in the doing so much mode.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can think about your mental health a little bit more. I mean, especially, I know, like, I'm a busy mom, so that's what I relate to, as being a busy mom. And so it's when it's in the quiet times when I'm not being so busy that I'm like, whoo, I'm sad, or I'm like, whatever, because I gave myself the time, or I had the time to stop. And so I think that's why people in COVID were feeling it too. They just slowed down. They gave themselves time. It's interesting.
Time and permission.
Mm-hmm.
And we think just shoving things down makes them go away, and it doesn't.
Oh no, they find ways to come up.
Right? In really inopportune ways, and in poor time situations. When I looked over, so it is now 2023, and I really got healed and walked out of that wilderness season in 2018. So I am 5 years on the other side of it now, and I was stunned by my own response to revisiting that wilderness season. I really thought, I was like, I'm so good, I'm over it, look at my joy, I'm rocking and all of the things. And I'm like, oh, that really was a very big deal, and that's still in there a little bit. So I think sometimes we think that we are winning when we're actually just repressing. But you guys, that takes as much energy. That probably takes more energy to just keep that stuff buried than if you would actually look at it and I don't want to say I maybe like befriend it and journey with it for a minute. You know, when I looked at all of the things that led to that season, it was a lot of crazy. It was a lot of loss back to back and instances, and I mean, it really was a lot. And had I given myself permission and been brave enough to address those things in the moment, would it have been hard? Yes. But addressing one thing at a time and getting healthy is a much better option than letting it pile up and be 15, 18, 20 things that you really should have grieved.
Jen, can you still hear us?
I can, excuse me. I'm getting a call and I'm choosing to not do that.
Okay. I was going to say we lost your video and I knew you were on charging. There you go.
There we are. Yay. Perfect. No, that's my daughter. I'll call her back.
So,
yes. So had I given myself permission and time to do that in the moment, opposed to letting those accumulate, the story may have been different.
You may have just had possibly a shorter season.
Yeah.
Possibly. Right.
Right. It's not like it wasn't.
It's like an onion,
hard.
though. It's like an onion. You peel one thing and deal with it, and then another thing and deal with it, and you know, those kinds of things. So it's a process. They always say you need to process it, and like I said recently to my therapist, I'm like, what does that mean, processing it? She's like, well, it just means you need to feel your feelings, and I'm like, okay, but that's really hard.
Yes, and that's why we have therapists and counselors. Because if it was easy, we would all just like wake up and do it and go, cool.
Right. Yeah. Feeling your feelings is hard, and it's usually not good feelings. So it's stressful and exhausting. But you need to do it. You do. Yeah.
You do, because if you don't get real and feel those feelings, you lose the ability to feel the other feelings as well.
The good feelings.
And that's no way to live.
That's true. Yeah. So you are also a speaker. So tell us about that.
That is a great question. that is something that is just emerging.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't know what that will look like. I know that that is something that I'm called to because I just know.
Right. Sure. That's what a calling is.
Yeah. Like I answered the call, and I just have to figure out how to walk that out. So I honestly don't know what that's going to look like yet. I anticipate that it will be kind of retreats, probably. You know, speaking engagements, just to, as I said, give people hope, and so all of the things. So I wish I had more clarity on that, and that is not where I am in my journey, except that I know that that's where I'm going. So I'm just speaking it out loud here on your podcast.
That's great.
Absolutely. Well, that's how it manifests, right? When you start speaking about it, it comes to be. And
right.
You know, you were called to write this book. You're called to speak. And where can people find your book?
All right. Currently, my website is www.chapter2wisdom.com. So that is all. It's not the digit 2; it's spelled out, and it's all one thing. No caps, no spaces. Chapter2wisdom.com, and it will give them opportunity to give me their email, so they will be made aware of future things that I have popping as well. So the speaking thing is, you know, on the front end of becoming. I'm also working on a follow-up project connected to Wisdom from the Wilderness that will be a journal and some things like that for people that want to take those resources and strategies from the book and implement them into their own current situations. Also working on an online course that will be called the Grit and Glory Workshop. So I have many things to come. So I appreciate the opportunity to share all of that with you guys. But the start is to visit the website and get on my email list. So as those things are being created, if that is something that your audience would like to jump on board with, they will be in position to do that.
Perfect. And as always, to our listeners, we'll have the links for Jen's website and all that good stuff on the show notes, so you can find it there to this episode.
So Chapter 2, What is the relevance of chapter 2?
Because I call it my chapter 2 life, because chapter 1 was all of the things leading up to that breakdown. It was, I just didn't know myself as like I do now. And Lisa mentioned that I am in the beauty industry, so I'm a successful business owner in another industry. But that was I wasn't healthy in my heart and soul. Even what appeared to be outward success was not all that it could have been, because I had to go through some things and be healthier on the inside. So chapter 2 is a completely different version of who I am, and I think if people will learn their lessons and come out stronger and wiser on the other side, celebrate chapter 2. That is your chapter 2.
I like
that
it.
You're not yet who you're going to be, but you're not who you used to be. And I think everybody deserves a good chapter 2.
Right. Always writing your book.
Absolutely.
Always editing your book, right?
Yeah, yep. So there will be some messy chapters, because we're in a messy world. But and I think the fact that we are in a messy world, those of us who have something positive to contribute, that's a responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
I feel this is not just like a fun little thing I did. I feel responsible if you have been given a second chance. And I talk about that in the book a little bit, that my biggest fear used to be letting people down. Well, that's a pretty tyrannical master of your life, over which you have no control sometimes. And if I had a fear now, it would be, what if I got a second chance and I missed what I was supposed to do?
Right. Sure.
And that's, so I'm inspired to do it, but also I feel the weight of that responsibility to make a difference, because I got a chapter 2, and not everybody does. That has not escaped me. Not everybody gets a chapter 2. So
that's great.
That's true. That is true. Whether you're 16 or 70, you can rewrite your story and finish strong and have that chapter 2, that new ending, create your ending. I love it, Jen. One of the things that, as you were speaking and you've authored this book, and oftentimes it's our story, right? Sometimes we have people that are wanting to serve us that haven't walked in our shoes. But I can only imagine that during writing that story, there was some pain and there was some opportunities.
So much Kleenex.
Yes.
But probably cathartic at the same time, getting it out, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
A little healing, a little hurting, but putting it out there is tremendous.
Brave.
Yeah. I so appreciate that you said that. And people ask me, they're like, aren't you scared of what people's response will be? I go, no. Living it was scary. This is just the fun part.
Right. Because your purpose is to help other people and support other people and be a beacon. So that's purposeful, not scary. So right. Yeah. So one of the things that we like to do on the show, or one of the main purposes of this show, is to connect people. So we like to ask, are there people in the Lansing community, specific or general, that Lisa and I can help connect you with? And you can shout it to the airwaves and say, hey, does anybody know this specific person, or in general, a group of people or whatever that you are looking to connect with, and tell our listeners who you want to meet, who you're trying to connect with.
Apparently, I'm very popular right now on my phone. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Go ahead. No, you're good. We'll edit it out.
So I would say that the folks that I would like to connect with, groups of I have to say I'm more comfortable speaking with groups of women.
Fair.
So okay, so anyone that that has groups of women that are maybe in transition. I feel like a lot of times where trauma and grieving sometimes get rooted is when women are in transition. So if they're going through
sorry, go ahead.
a financial thing or a financial thing or newly single and that's not what they wanted. Empty nesters will go through some
new
upheaval
job, new
kinds of
career.
things.
Yeah.
Yes. So so specifically women in transition, I think it's helpful to be proactive at those moments. I am a person at a very strong faith. So churches, faith-based organizations, kind of my jam.
Okay.
People who are in, even people in crisis, who maybe have been incarcerated and they need to reinvent themselves. That's kind of a passion of mine as well.
Okay.
Okay. Does that help?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So to our listeners, you heard Jen. So if you yourself fit that criteria and are looking for somebody to talk to or know somebody, or if you have a group that is looking for a speaker, an author, if you maybe have a book club that would like to read Jen's book, and you can have the author herself come and talk to your book club, that would be amazing, right? I've had that experience, and not with Jen's book, but in a book club before, where we were able to have the author come. That is amazing experience in a book club, something like that. That's fantastic. And remember, if you go to zdmedia.com and look up the show notes for this episode, you can find the link to all of this and find Jen's book, or go to chapter2wisdom.com. That would be a better way to do it, and go right to her book and find that, and you can contact Jen, and she is right here in the Lansing area, so you can meet up with her. Yes. Yeah. So.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Club. That was awesome.
Right? That'd be fun.
Thank you for having my back on that. It's kind of a no-brainer right there.
Right? Yeah, that'd be fun. Have you ever gone to the Lansing Women's Forum networking group? They meet once a month. Lately, we've been going to Olga's.
I just became aware of this lovely thing.
Yeah.
So have I gone? No. Am I gonna go? Yes.
Good.
Yes. 100%.
Good. Yeah, I probably won't be at the June one because I won't be in town, but July. I never remember which Wednesday is. Do you remember, Lisa, which Wednesday?
One is the second or the third Wednesday of the month. Okay. So I think it is the third Wednesday of the month.
They have a Facebook group. It's the
Lansing
Women's Forum, and I'll tell you on there. But to all our listeners too, if you're a woman-owned business or a woman business person that's networking, you don't have to own a business, but you want to network. It's a Facebook group, and then they meet at Olga's in the Frandor area. That's really nice. It's open networking. There's no cost. You just come and meet lovely women.
And it's easy access in terms of that's very close to the freeway and food. So food is always
everyone just orders individually. You don't even have to order anything if you don't want to. You just come in and mix and mingle and talk, and it's just an hour. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, is there anything that we haven't asked you that you would like to say before we sign off?
Just to folks. So please get the book. Because it is very interesting. When I was going through all of the things, and it was things like PTSD, it was things like addiction, it was things like having to walk away from our home, it was sexual assault. I mean, all the things. Nobody knew it, and I looked like this. So I think in closing, I would just say, you don't know what people go home to, and be kind.
Right.
I love it. Jen, it's been such a pleasure to hear you come and speak. I know your passion for helping women to be beautiful inside and out and to get through the messy. And you radiate when you walk into a room, you light it up. And like you said, you never know what somebody's going on through the inside, but this is genuine. This is a healing. I say healing because I think we're always healing. And it's just such a pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to watching you grow and watching you take this movement forward.
Yeah. And hearing you speak somewhere soon in the Lansing area. That would be amazing.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I
Excellent.
received that, ladies. Thank you so much for the opportunity to invest some time with you.
Yeah. Thank you for being on our show. We appreciate it. Yeah. And thank you to our listeners for joining us on another Adventures in Business. We release episodes every Wednesday. You can find us at zediamedia.com or wherever you listen to your podcast, and on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe. We appreciate you. Please go out and have a great day. And as always, make it an adventure.
That's awesome.
This is a Zedia Media production.